The man advantage is important. You look at the top 5 power play units with a minimum of 75 minutes played together, and you can see the Toronto Maple Leafs atop that chart. At the very bottom, the St. Louis Blues, just a goal and a half per 20, last in the NHL. For more on that, let's send it to Mike and Johnny at the goal monitor.
Thanks, Tone. Obviously, St. Louis not having a very good year last year on the power play. They made a ton of changes to their personnel. Maybe they can look at a few different combinations this year. But let's take a look at last year's St. Louis Blues power play and why it was not very successful.
Yeah, so to clarify that board a little bit, we're looking at 5-man units in the NHL. The Maple Leafs was the Mitch Marner unit, which was so great. This was the 5-man unit for the St. Louis Blues. They played over 80 minutes together. They only scored 6 times. Again, not very good goals per 20. Last of all the most used units in the league. So what they did last year, this was typically their setup. What's the big issue that you see? Because there was a huge red flag for me right away. A
lot of left-handed shooting forwards up there. Pietrangelo shoots right. Everyone else shoots left. And that could be an issue. Braden Shen also was so good in the power play a couple of years ago. And he kind of loses his valuable position over in the corner sometimes. So a lot of talent, a lot of really good players, but maybe just not the right mix in the right positions to capitalize on their skills.
Well, these were their 5 top point producers last season, which is great. Put your 5 top point producers on a power play.
So
it should work. Exactly. You have the 4 left shot forwards, a lot of disjointed plays that didn't work. Do not worry, St. Louis Blues fans. There's a reason those goal lights.
You might want to press record here. Mike Kelly's going to fix your power play with your new personnel. So now, Mike, you're the coach of the power play of St. Louis Blues. Where are you putting guys? Why are you putting there? And how is this new revamped unit going to be better than last year's?
Well, there's one constant that will remain the same. It's Alex Pietrangelo playing at the point. He does it well. It's where he should be. That's fine. Let's move on from Petro. Everybody knows what he's capable of doing, and go over to the left wall where we are going to have Jaden Schwartz.
Jaden Schwartz, very talented player with the puck, move it around. Left shot guy, so he's not on his off wing. Ideally, it's a right shot guy over there, but he's a left shot guy manning the puck, and the puck will generally work its way from their left side through Jaden Schwartz.
Yes, so Jaden Schwartz, he played this kind of high slot bumper area last year. We're going to put him here. Again, he's able to distribute the puck down low and over into this bumper area where we are going to put Ryan O'Reilly. New addition to the St. Louis Blues. Now, there's a reason we're putting him here. And again, these two guys can switch with each other to throw different looks at the penalty kill. Ryan O'Reilly is so good with the puck in tight spaces. He's a left shot here. It's a phenomenal place for him to be. I talked to an Atlantic Division defenseman. He said, Ryan O'Reilly, so good in tight spots with the puck. And it bears out in the numbers as well. You look at 5-on-4, the pass completion rate of forwards last season on the power play.
That's a massive number.
Ryan O'Reilly's number 1 by 2%, so it's not a small margin. He completed the most passes in the offensive zone in this situation, and I already know what you're telling me. I know what you're saying. Well, maybe these are easy 2-foot passes. Why don't we take a look at more difficult passes into the slot area, the highly contested area on the ice? Ryan O'Reilly, number 2, behind Claude Giroux, who's one of the best puck distributors in the National Hockey League.
So get O'Reilly in the slot where he'll have a lot of traffic, making plays, whether it's back to the point, down to the goal line, over perhaps to their trigger man behind him, is a good place to maximize Ryan O'Reilly's skills.
100%. And again, these two guys can switch. Ryan O'Reilly last year, he played the left wall in Buffalo. He's familiar here. Schwartz is here. You got these two guys set up. Perfect. Now let's get into a right shot, which this unit didn't have at the forward position last year. We're going to put Tyler Bozak, a new addition as well for the St. Louis Blues, down here by the net. He's going to be the pop-out guy. Now, Bozak, we talked about that Maple Leaf unit that was number 1 in the NHL last year. This is where he played in this area on that unit. He's familiar with it as a right shot. When he's got his back to the goalie, he's got the stick out on this side. So he can take passes from Schwartz over here. He can throw pucks up to O'Reilly for one-timers. O'Reilly can throw it out here again away from traffic if he needs to.
He's got him there all the way through, or even over whoever's over there. All available for Tyler Bozak because he's a righty there, able to make plays off the goal line with his chest facing out towards the play.
Exactly. So that's a big difference for St. Louis. And as the pop-out guy in that position, he's got a lot of options. Another thing he can do if he's facing the net, as he did often in Toronto with that right shot, is be a one-timer option for down-low plays on the backside coming from Vladimir Tarasenko, who will now play on his off wing on the right side. It opens
Knew we were missing somebody.
Yes, Vladdy. It opens up a one-timer option, even more than the one-timer with Tarasenko. When he just gets the puck on his stick, that quick wrist shot, it's so good. So now you give him options there. And even though he played a lot on the left side on this anemic unit last year, you look at where his power play goals came from. There was 4 on the right circle and 2
Because
from the
guys
left
are
circle.
more comfortable shooting on their off wing. Whether you one-time it, whether you take slappers, you got a better angle, your sticks in the middle of the ice, and you can receive passes cleaner and release them faster. Some things that he's the very best in the world at doing, so that bears out why he would score more goals on his off wing.
And it also opens up a unique one-timer opportunity from the left shot, Tarasenko, to the right shot, Pietrangelo at the point. They can tee each other up as well. So that's how I've drawn it out based on the analytics, based on the video, based on the people I've talked to.
Okay.
You played in the show.
I like it.
What do you think?
It makes a lot of sense. I would draw it just exactly the same way. I'd want to work it out of Jaden Schwartz. The only difference, if I could be greedy, I'd want Schwartz to be a right-handed shot. So it's an easier pass out. And I like Pietrangelo to be a left shot. But other than that, I like where you put them. Bozak's got to be on the number 1 unit. Okay, so now we fixed their number 1 unit. They're good to go.
The thing to remember, too, about the Blues last year, they missed the playoffs by a point.
1 extra
with the
goal.
second worst power play in the NHL. This is massively important to get this thing figured out.
So first unit, got it all straightened away. Second unit, now what are you going to do with that unit to make sure that can support the first one in their 30, 40 seconds per power play?
Well, 2 guys are getting bumped. One of them is Alex Steen. We're going to put him in front of the net where he played on the first unit in St. Louis.
So Steen's down in front of the net now.
Steen is in front of the net. Alex Steen is there. We're going to put Brayden Schenn. Now, Schenn last year played on the right wall, on his off wing, and in those 80 minutes that unit played together last year, he scored no goals. It didn't work for him.
So he played over in this area.
He played over there, not good.
Right.
You know where Brayden Schenn scored 17 goals and led the NHL on the power play the year before in Philly? Playing right in here.
Right,
and that's where we're going to put him on this second unit. He can take passes here. He's comfortable in this area. He's had a ton of success in this area.
Yep.
He won't have Claude Giroux in that area.
Yeah.
But he's
okay.
familiar, and he can sneak down, too, and play in those tight areas. So that's where we're going to have Brayden Schenn.
Makes a lot of sense.
Feeding him pucks is a phenomenal playmaker as well, and a guy who can shoot the puck. Robbie Fabry's going to be back in the mix this season. He missed a full year, but Robbie Fabry's a dynamic player.
Another reason why he's an important player for St. Louis to come back and be healthy.
Yep, no question. Colton Parayko at the point. He's got that big bomb of a shot. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then David Perron on the right side, playing where he played last year on the power play with the Vegas Golden Knights. That is your second unit. This will get you more power play goals. This will get you into the playoffs. Just invite me to the cup party. That's all I ask.
There you go. We figured it out, Tony. St. Louis power play is not a concern anymore.